Welcome to the Caddo Convos, the podcast that explores the vibrant community of businesses thriving in Caddo Office Reimagined. We're here to shine a light on the incredible entrepreneurs and professionals who make the most of our private offices, co-working spaces, and day office rentals in the Dallas-Fort Worth suburbs. Join us as we share their stories, celebrate their successes, and dive into the benefits of working in a space that's close to home but offers so much more than working from home. Let's get started with today's conversation. Welcome, everybody, to Caddo Convos. I'm joined by Amy Doar of Doar Professional Counseling, and she's a Caddo Office member. Thank you, Amy, for joining us on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
So tell us about your business.
I have been a practitioner for about 15 years, and I came over to Caddo about a year and a half ago because it was close. I loved it.
Yeah.
It has everything I need to be a professional businesswoman. And I see 18 and up. So my youngest client currently is 18 years old. My eldest client is 79, Vietnam veteran.
Oh, wow.
So I work with veteran active duty, and I take Tricare, which is a military insurance that a lot of people, if you either know about it or you don't.
Right.
So I get a lot of people through that way, VA connections, things like that. And I work with the general anxiety, depression. I do have some subspecialties like giftedness, LGBTQ. I support a lot of that, bipolar. And then another thing that I do is work with parents with young adults who have kind of failure to launch.
Yeah.
It could be multiple reasons. It could be a diagnosis issue. It could be they started soaring and then they just came back home because the job fit wasn't right, their degree wasn't right, a number of reasons.
Yeah. Are you seeing one of those reasons is the job market impacting that? And the cost of things? Yeah.
A little bit, but sometimes it tends to be some undiagnosed issues, like we're finding more and more diagnoses of autism spectrum disorder. ADHD is a huge complicating factor for a lot of people. Not understanding at a young enough age what was going on so that it's impacting them as they age. And that's really devastating for young people when they don't know. They're like, something's wrong and I don't know why. And the parents are going, we've given you all the tools, all the things, what's happening. And so trying to help put those pieces together for people.
Yeah. So would you see and how long have you been doing this in your career?
Oh, goodness. At this part, probably of 5 or 6 years.
So in that time, have you seen, because you mentioned you worked with like a 60-year range, some of the, I'd say the older people back, and I'm 52 myself. So back in my day, so, hey,
I'm too.
Happy birthday to us whenever,
Yes.
We hit this year. Back in the day, the diagnosis wasn't really a thing. I'm looking
Not
back
as
to when I
much.
was 20.
Sure.
I mean, a lot less than now. The awareness is definitely increased. Are you seeing older adults who weren't diagnosed, might be difficult to diagnose now, and talking through those problems?
Absolutely. And some of them are coming in to me saying, I think I have insert word here.
Right.
And I would like to know more about it. Can you help me with it? Can you recommend someone for testing, which I have resources to recommend for that. But also, sometimes they don't know, and I diagnose them without ever, I bring the conversation to them.
Right.
Sometimes they've already been diagnosed and they come in going, okay, I have this sitting out here from my psychiatrist or my medical doctor, and they want me to start working on something, and I do too. So it's multiple ways.
Right.
But lots more people being in touch with what's going on. And often we see this so much, there's probably a million articles, is that a parent will realize that they have a certain thing going on within them once their kid's diagnosed. So we see children diagnosed with ADHD and autism, especially those two, and a parent going, oh my gosh, this is me. Oh, I had these behaviors. Oh my goodness, nobody ever caught it. We didn't know as much back then.
Right.
And I have people saying all the time, I wish my parents had explored this further. I wish that I'd been able to get into a program, taking a med, anything.
Yeah.
Or that because school was hard and it didn't have to be.
So there's the flip side of that coin with Dr. Google, and people self-diagnosing and things.
They sure do.
And of course, our parents didn't have the internet at all.
No.
So they had wherever they were getting their information from, that's all they had to work with.
Correct.
So I can't fault them for not knowing what the fact that we walk around with a device in our hand that has access to all knowledge, basically.
Yes, all the good, all the bad.
Which is a problem. So do you struggle with that, with the people walking with Dr. Google?
Honestly, not too much. I
Good.
think I've been very fortunate.
Yeah.
A lot of times I will send an article to one of my clients and say, okay, here's a Psychology Today, a WebMD, a New York Times that I've already read, of course, and think, hey, this is good. Or I will send them to Google things that are similar, like look at this, see if you find anything that looks like what you have, because I'm usually looking out there first and knowing, but generally I've been very fortunate that there has not been an issue with that.
Right. And you also know where to look.
Absolutely.
Because you can
There's
turn
lots
any
of trusted
stone.
resources.
Yeah.
As much, I try to steer people away from Reddit. I mean, people come in and say, "Oh, I found all my information on Reddit." I'm like, maybe spread out.
That's crowdsourcing knowledge, and most of them probably search for the same search terms before they became experts. Right. That's been my experience with Reddit as well.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your journey to where you are now. Like, what was your inspiration in your youth that led to your career? Let's walk through that and get to know you.
I truly feel like I was raised to do this. I don't think it was on purpose.
Yeah.
So I am a child of a Methodist pastor.
Okay.
Very connectional people, very kind. I had really wonderful parents. And we moved around North Texas a little bit. And so I had to connect with people every time we changed churches.
Make new friends.
Sherman, Dallas, Richardson, wherever we were. And so I got to know people. And my parents had friends of all types.
Yeah.
Anything you can think of. They just loved people. And when I was when I was in high school, I went to J.J. Pierce down the street. I took a psychology class my senior year, and I went, oh, wow, I love this. And that gentleman ended up being one of the best teachers in the high school and went on to get his doctorate. And when I went to college, I had this seed in my head thinking, like, weirdly, I thought either political science or psychology. Did not go the poli-sci route, and then ended up knowing once I took my first college psychology class, I'm like, this is it. I knew I wanted to be a therapist. I didn't want to do testing. I didn't want to do experimentation. There's lots of different types of psychology that are all wonderful. And it just went from there.
Yeah.
Undergrad, grad school, all the things. And then I had a hiatus. This is the interesting part of my journey. So when I was graduating, the Behavioral Health Executive Council of Texas changed licensing hours from 1,500 to 3,000.
Oh, how nice.
So I went, that's going to take a long time. And I wasn't grandfathered in because I hadn't already graduated. So actually, I spent 7 years as a boutique corporate recruiter. So I recruited senior software developers, software managers for tech companies, which was great because I was using my skills anyway to talk to people, helping people find jobs, helping people connect. Felt very similar to therapy because I'm listening to everybody's stories anyway. And I had friends in the business. And so it was easy. And then I felt called back later. And finally, about 2008, I started finishing my hours and jumped back in 2009.
How has COVID... Now, because it's pre or post, pretty much, how the world has been from a connectivity and meetings and all those things. How has that impacted your business? It's been years now.
Yes,
but
it still is. So COVID, strangely enough, for many in the therapeutic community, helped us keep people because everybody went online. Yeah. So all of our clients, the old and the young, had to figure out telehealth. And so people that were leaving for college, usually in September or August, the people that I had that were college students would say, goodbye, it's been great. See you on the flip side next summer if I need something. This time everyone went, can we keep you? Can we keep you? Oh my gosh, I'm going down to, say, UT or A&M, and I really want to keep my therapist. And so here we go in telehealth. It totally transformed my world.
Yeah.
So I hate that the pandemic happened, but it helped a lot of people stay connected, get connected when they weren't before. A lot of my clients have a hybrid where sometimes they see me online, sometimes they come in. But I have, probably 60% of my business is just telehealth. And as long as they're in the state of Texas, I'm good. Yeah. So I have people all over, especially with my military connection. So Fort Bliss or somewhere else, I may pick up someone that wants my counseling services, and we just adjust to the times that they have and go for it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, again, you and I are both sitting here at our Caddo Maple Shade podcast studio, and your office is here
I'm just
in the
upstairs.
building. Yeah,
I love it.
Tell me why you chose Caddo.
Oh, multiple reasons. So I don't live very far away. We had moved from Allen to North Dallas in 2020, right during the pandemic. We wanted to downsize a little bit, and our kid was off to college. And so we were kind of looking for a space. My husband helped me a little bit, and I saw this building being built during that time and thought, hey, that's kind of cool. So when I had a private practice that I was a part of in Allen for many years, it was a larger one where I was the assistant director. And as I thought, hey, I would like to be closer to home. I don't really want a 25-minute drive in the morning. What's around here? We start looking at office space, came in, did a tour, and I fell in love with it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a really quick drive for me. I love that it's central between sort of Dallas and Collin County, where I can draw people from all over the Metroplex and expand my area of the people that want to come in person. And so when I had the tour, we found a beautiful furnished office. It was exactly near a waiting room.
Yeah.
Upstairs. So I have a place for my clients to sit. They don't have to wander around the building. And it just was perfect.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was new. The rent was great. And it felt like where I belonged. And I have had so much positivity from my clients saying, I love this place. It's so nice. It's so pretty. We think it's so cool. So it was a win-win.
Yeah, that's terrific. And that's, to your point, when your clients come here, they feel comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Because of the amenities available to them
Absolutely.
as well.
They know they can run, get a drink of water, or get some coffee if they want. You know, they have a nice lounge to wait in that's comfortable. And it just really works out beautifully.
That's terrific. Let's switch back to your clients now and their perception and their expectation. Talk to me about, I know some of them have probably been with you for a while. Can you share a couple of success stories to where people, either they were researching for themselves and they showed up, talk to me about a couple of different people, obviously without mentioning names.
Sure. One of the big populations I mentioned was military.
Yeah.
And so I have a really good friend that was in the military themselves and are out in Fort Worth. And so we tend to share clients, and most of these will be telehealth, although occasionally I've had people drive in from Fort Worth if they really want to see me in person every once in a while. And I have had some people that thought, like, I just can't find the right fit with the insurance that I need. And so knowing that I've been working with this population for 15 years, once they sometimes Google search me or my friend recommends me, but they can find me on Psychology Today too in other ways, and that I understand the military culture, they feel really relieved. And so I've had a few young men and women come, and older people too that are retired, saying, wow, this was such a good fit for me. I didn't think anyone would really get me or want to listen. And I'm kind of one of those people that says, you can't really shock me if you want to tell me everything that's happened to you. That's what I'm here for. Okay.
So you've seen all types of men and women. You haven't had anyone shock you.
No, I mean, maybe their stories were a little alarming, but I try to meet them where they are. So I've had a couple of people that have come through and said, if I hadn't experienced this for myself, I wouldn't have known that I could move past some of the PTSD, some of the trauma. Now that I'm bringing EMDR, which is another type of therapy, in to help them, you can remember that you had something without being triggered by it. So you can remember an event, but you don't have that, brain and body reaction to it, that visceral reaction. You can just say, okay, is this something I went through? Yeah. So I've had some success stories like that where they go, wow, this has really been helpful. And so people come back all the time. I have so many returning clients, which that's a privilege for me. And returning clients always get first priority on my caseload because I helped, and they think like, hey, if this worked, then I can talk about something else.
Right. And for those who don't know, including myself, define EMDR.
Yes. So that is eye movement desensitization therapy where both sides of your brain are stimulated. So it's called bilateral stimulation. All that means is the right and the left side is being stimulated. You can do this moving your fingers across someone's eyes. I have something called BiTaps. So it's a pulse that alternates in your hand. A lot of people have seen a light bar that goes back and forth. You can have tones because if you're not sighted, it works with tones or tapping. If you can't hear, then the tapping, of course, is great. And then it depends on what sensitivities you have. Some people don't like something right in front of their eyes.
Right.
So a lot of my clients can sit back with the tappers, close their eyes, and then each side of their brain is stimulated, which helps release memories that they can process and get through their trauma.
And from my understanding, again, I've Googled it before, and now I recall this. It's basically activating your brain through the memory to see it kind of almost from an outside or just a different way. Your brain processes it. So you can, it almost kind of, I want to equate it to when you think of a happy memory or something you've done in your life, if you just did the thing, you remember it perfectly and could probably write about it. A year from now, 10 years from now, it's like, oh, I can't remember what color this stuff was.
Right.
So the memories kind of lose their luster. And for traumatic memories, there's either suppressed or whatnot. And this is bringing them back, but remembering them in a different way. Can you describe it a little bit?
They remember the same thing, but it's almost like some people describe it almost like they're watching TV, or that I've had people say, I remember an argument I had with someone when I was 10 and my parents were yelling, but I could smell the grass that was freshly cut. I could see what time of day it was. It was evening, maybe in Baton Rouge or something like that. And I had no memory of those extra things before, but I could even hear what they said. So it unlocks the memories and helps you work through them. And honestly, no one can tell you exactly why. There's like 3 or 4 theories on that, but there's not one definitive. It works because of A, B, and C. We think it does, but we just know that it does. And it was actually developed for military.
Oh, interesting.
And now it's been approved by every medical and psychiatric association. Churches like it, synagogues like it. Everyone thinks like this is good stuff because they see it working.
Yeah, that's terrific. Science.
I know, it's
brain
amazing.
Science. Our brains are so complicated. But it's good reason to have people like you who are helping us figure out how it all works, at least for ourselves.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the best way to contact you.
Sure. So I am actually, this is a great time to talk about this. I am finishing up a website and branding. So this has kind of been a slow process for me because I didn't need it because I brought all my clients with me. Yeah. So, but I'm on Psychology Today. You can contact me directly through that. I have an email, amy@yourtexascounselor.com. People can actually contact me on my cell phone as well directly if they would like to. So it's all in there.
Okay.
But Psychology Today right now, and then eventually Doar Professional Counseling will be live by the end of the year.
Okay, good deal. And I'll put all that in the show notes.
Sure.
So the internet's forever. So as long as the podcast is out there, they'll be able to find you and find that information. Any parting thoughts?
I appreciate being able to come and do this today. It's nice to be able to talk about my craft. I really feel like there's skill, there's art, there's, love and devotion within this. There's training. And the thing about being a therapist is you're always training. You don't ever want to be stagnant. And I appreciate that my clients seek that out. A lot of them stay with me for years. And some of them for a few months. It's kind of whatever anyone needs. There's not a one size fits all to therapy. So, I welcome all kinds of people with all kinds of issues.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being on the Caddo Convos today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us today on the Caddo Convos podcast. A huge shout out to our incredible network of members for making our community vibrant and supportive. If you're looking to boost your productivity and reduce the isolation of working from home, consider joining us at Caddo Office Reimagine. Our spaces are designed to meet your evolving needs, support remote work, and foster a sense of community that's hard to find at home. Whether you're a startup aiming for growth, a freelancer seeking a professional setting, or a company looking to optimize resources, Caddo offers a perfect blend of flexibility and innovation. By joining us, you'll be a part of a dynamic business ecosystem that helps you thrive. For more information, visit caddooffices.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Caddo Convos.